That's a sweater. It's been almost done for a year. I have the bottom ribbing and the sleeves left. That's it, a year. And I have not touched it. I know exactly why. And it's the same reason I almost didn't start this channel. And honestly, it's probably the same reason you have something sitting in a bag somewhere that you can't quite bring yourself to finish. Brigitte Dow wrote a whole chapter about this. She made flour-filled ice cubes. I picked up the sweater I've been running from. This is what happened. Here's the thing about self-sabotage that nobody tells you. It doesn't feel like self-sabotage. It feels like being realistic. When I was deciding whether to start this channel or not, the voice in my head wasn't dramatic about it. It wasn't,
"You'll fail spectacularly and everyone will laugh."
It was quieter than that. It was,
"You're boring. You don't have anything to say that anyone wants to hear."
And
who do you think you are?
That's not fear. That sounds like good judgment. That's the problem. In peer support, we talk about the stories we tell ourselves. The ones that feel so true, we've stopped questioning them. I'd been carrying "I'm boring and have nothing to say" for so long, it had the texture of fact. Not belief, fact. Brigitte's chapter on self-sabotage is the one that made me put the book down for 10 minutes and just sit with it. Because she named something I recognized in myself immediately. A lot of what we call self-sabotage is actually the brain doing its job, protecting you from risk, from failure, from caring about something and then losing it. The brain doesn't know the difference between a predator and a YouTube comment section. Protection is protection. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is the brain budget piece. When my brain budget is already running low, when I'm in what I call wildfire, that depleted, overwhelmed, everything costs too much state, the protection kicks in harder because there's nothing left to absorb a hit. And when there's nothing left to absorb a hit, the brain defaults to don't try the thing, don't finish sweater, don't post the video, don't give it a chance to go wrong. Wildfire is self-sabotage's best operating environment. Not because you're broken, because you're a mammal with a nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Brigitte outlines several reasons we self-sabotage. I want to talk about the 3 that hit closest to home for me, and I'm guessing for you. The first one is what was running when I almost didn't start this channel. The fear of being flawed. It's not really about the channel. It's about a belief. Sometimes a very old, very deep belief that you have some fundamental flaw that makes you unworthy of succeeding, some secret defect. And if you try and you succeed, eventually everyone's going to find that flaw. And then what? Better not to try. Better to stay small. At least then the flaws stay hidden. I'm boring and have nothing to say. That's a flaw story. It's not a fact. It's a story I'd been telling myself for so long, it felt like a personality trait. This sweater, also a flaw story. At some point, I started to think, what if I finish it and it doesn't fit right? What if I did the raglan increases wrong? What if I've been knitting for 2 years and I'm still not good enough to wear my own work? Better to leave it unfinished. An unfinished sweater can't fail. You can't fail at something you never finish. The brain knows this. The brain is not wrong. The brain is just not helpful right now. The second one is weirder and more uncomfortable. The fear of joy. Have you ever had something go really well, genuinely well, and then immediately found a way to blow it up? Not sabotaged it before it started, but waited until it was good and then pulled the pin. I have, more than once. Brigitte uses the gym example. You have a great workout. You feel proud of yourself, and you stop for a celebratory donut on the way home. Not because you're weak, because something in you is deeply suspicious of feeling that good. If you've ever been punished for success, directly or indirectly, obviously or subtly, you learn that joy has consequences. Maybe someone important to you got smaller when you got bigger. Maybe your wins cost you a relationship. Maybe your family didn't do happy. And celebration always had a catch. So now, when something starts to go well, there's a part of you that's already bracing for the catch. And sometimes it's easier to create the catch yourself than to wait for it to arrive. Felix went into the bag around the time the channel started gaining a little traction. I didn't notice that until now. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. Third one is the most practical and somehow the most demoralizing. The fear of too much work. Not the work itself. What happens after the work works? You've done the thing before. You pushed through, you succeeded, and then suddenly the bar moved. The expectations climbed, the workload doubled, and then you burned out. Or you disappointed people, or you couldn't sustain it. And that felt worse than never having tried. So now, when something starts to look like it might work, the brain helpfully reminds you, remember last time? Starting a YouTube channel, especially one that's actually getting views, means committing to keeping a YouTube channel going. And if I'm boring and have nothing to say, is already running in the background, adding, and now people are watching and expecting things is a lot. It's not laziness. It's a very logical, very self-protective, I can't afford to fail at this big, so I will always make sure it stays small. Here's why I tie all of this to the brain budget. Self-sabotage doesn't hit equally across all states. When I'm in ember, when I've got reserves, when I'm rested, when the day has gone okay, I can recognize the fear stories for what they are. I can pick up the sweater, I can hit publish. But when I'm in wildfire, the fear stories feel like facts again. The Felix goes back in the bag, the draft stays a draft, the idea I was excited about yesterday feels stupid today. This is not a character flaw. This is resource depletion. You cannot fight self-sabotage from a depleted brain any more than you can run a marathon on zero sleep. The fight isn't be stronger. The fight is, what does it take to keep me out of wildfire long enough to do the thing? For me, that's sleep, medication, and not scheduling film days on days when I already have 3 other hard things. That sounds simple. It is not simple, but it is the work. So, the Felix. This is an Amy Christopherson pattern. I started it over a year ago. It's a simple pullover with raglan increases. It is completely within my skill set. I know this because I did most of it already. I put it down because it was going well. I put it down because I got close enough to finishing that finishing became real. And real meant, what if I finish it and it's wrong? What if I finish it and I wear it and I look ridiculous? What if I put a year of work into this and it doesn't? You know what? I'm just going to knit. This is what picking it back up looks like. Not triumphant, not resolved, just back on the needles. 1 row. That's all I'm asking of myself today. 1 row. Brigida's ice cubes are a preservation metaphor. Flowers frozen in time, surfaced and revealed when the ice melts. The thing you put away doesn't disappear. It waits. And when you're ready, or when you decide ready is a fiction and you're just going to do it anyway, it's still there. The Felix has been waiting. I'm back. In peer support, someone will come in and say some version of, I keep giving up on the things I care about. I don't know what's wrong with me. And what I've learned, what I say now after facilitating these groups for a while, is there's nothing wrong with you. The giving up isn't the problem. The story you're telling yourself about the giving up, that's where it gets stuck. I keep giving up becomes, I'm someone who gives up, which becomes, I will always give up, which finally becomes, So why try? That's not a description of who you are. That's a fear, wearing a name tag. The self-sabotage isn't the problem. It's protection. It's your brain doing its job in the only way it knows how. The work isn't stop self-sabotaging. The work is, what am I protecting myself from? And is that protection still serving me? Sometimes it is. Sometimes the thing you're avoiding is genuinely not good for you right now. Sometimes the thing you're avoiding is the exact thing that would change everything. And your brain, bless its little amygdala, cannot tell the difference. Only you can tell the difference. And the only way to find out is to pick up the sweater. Brigitte's chapter 3 is the one that made me put the book down. I'm not going to summarize it further. You need to read it yourself. Link in the description. She says things in it I needed to hear in a way I couldn't have said them. I want to ask you something before you go. What is the thing you've been running from? Not the general category, the specific thing, the project in the bag, the draft in the folder, the idea you've been not ready for. What would it take to pick it up today? Not finish it, not fix it, just pick it up. Leave it in the comments. I read them. I'll be back here in a few weeks. Sleeves? Maybe. Next episode, gratitude, attitude, and meditation. The chapter I've been most excited about. And the science actually backs all of it up. September 9th, link in the description when it's live. You're not behind, you're not powerless, and you're absolutely not broken.